Hello sweet friends and welcome to the Rebookery channel. I am going to do a flip through of 12 journals that I'm going to have in my Etsy shop on Saturday, July 17th at 8 a.m. Central Time. So I'm going to try to go through as quickly as I can because there's so many journals and goodness to show you. So I'm going to just try to go as fast as I possibly can, but still show you the good stuff. Okay, so I have 4 journals that are going to be similar because they all have some sort of a sewing card, vintage sewing card on the front. Now these guys were made out of a crazy quilt, and I haven't bound these yet, so I'll show you the inside. It's going to have a crazy quilt and then the backing of the quilt that'll have pockets. It's a nice soft cover with a soft spine and lots of vintage trims and some messy stitches to go along with that whole decor. So in these, I have them all the same. So I'll just show you one here. So when you open it up, you will have wallpaper and then a nice file that has a little tab up here at the top that would be fun for you to fill. Let me pull this back so you guys can see. Fun for you guys to fill this in with some decorative paper. Do you remember the cloth books, and then they actually got turned into more of a like almost like a plastic coated book that was for babies, and the premise was that these books were indestructible and babies could chew on them and all that good stuff. So I have some old ones, and so they are super fun to journal on. And so this is an old one. I've reinforced the center of it, but I thought this would be so fun for you to take your favorite washi and put it down the side. Some vintage stationery, some vintage school tablet paper, 1975 calendar. This is from a Goodnight Stories storybook. Some nice notebook paper. This is a calendar, a cross-stitch calendar, and then some pretty scrapbooking paper that I've sewn along the edge. A vintage postulette. Some of my favorite sheet music because the paper is so delicious. It's like super smooth and kind of thick. And then what I did was I put some decorative tissue paper down the center. Another piece of wallpaper. Some 1969 ledger paper, some old vintage readers like from the 70s and 80s, and then I stitched it to you know, my favorite letterhead paper. I love this letterhead paper. I try to put it in every journal I make just because it is so fun to journal on. Some cross stitch patterns, and then this cool little calendar from 1980s, and what I did is it's been marked in, and this was a cat calendar, and then I put a sewing card, I stitched it in with some wallpaper, and so then that will be in the center. And so then here is the other side of the papers, and so these are all going to be single signatures. These tend to be the only journals I make nowadays just because after journaling in single signature journals, I don't think I'll ever go back. I don't want to say never, but I won't ever go back to multi-signatures. I just find that it's just so much easier to journal in a single signature. I love how they bulk up. I love that they have so much room and they bulk up, and I just love the way they feel. And I'll tell you something else. I don't feel overwhelmed because there's not, you know, tons and tons and tons of pages. It's something that I can potentially fill up, which is kind of the whole point of the journaling. So there's that one. This one has a seal on it, and it's the exact same. It's just going to have a little bit different papers. Here's the back. This one's a fun little tiger with some fringe. Again, same papers, just different colors and variations. And then this one has a cute little monkey. And yeah, So there you go. So there's the 4 sewing card ones. Next I have 2 vintage quilt journals, and these are already bound, but these guys I love because this quilt is one of my most favoriteest quilts ever. I love making journals out of this quilt. It is super soft. It's got just the most precious fabrics, and I love making journals out of this quilt. And so I have 2 of these. Again, it's going to be the same premise as the sewing card journals. So it'll have a pocket on the inside, lots of messy stitches. We'll start off with some wallpaper. Another one of those cloth children's books. This is a vintage calendar, a cross-stitch calendar from 1978. This is some art paper that I had just had as an underpaper, and I put some gesso and such on it, so it'll be ready for you to put your own art on top of it. This is some school paper, notebook paper, 1973 calendar with some tablet paper glued to the back and sewn. Again, some cross stitch or some needlework patterns. This is some of my favorite stationery, and I sewed a little pocket. This is a quilting pattern. This is from, oh my gosh, it's a 1980s, early 80s, late 70s, like a handicrafts type of book. And so I love the colors. The 1969, the ledger paper, and this stuff is super, super thick and smooth. Another piece of my underpaper. Listen how crinkly it is, and then it's got this grid on the back. This is from the Goodnight Stories. A piece of wallpaper, and then another like center from that cat calendar, and then I stitched a sewing card into this as well and attached it with some wallpaper. And so this is the back side of those pages. Look at that. That's from that handicrafts book. Wouldn't that be fun to have as your backdrop? I am just, yeah, loving all of these papers that I selected for these journals. They're just, I don't know, super fun. And they really bring back memories for me of the 80s, the late 70s and 80s, you know, growing up during that time period. So here's the other one. Okay, and it's super soft quilt. And then this again is going to be a real floppy journal. It's going to be a squishy journal and single signature. Made of the same exact things. It's just I use different patterns, different colors, and yeah, super, super fun. I think somebody would have a lot of fun filling this up, and again, would be able to fill this up because it's not going to be, you know, this super huge journal. Okay, next up, my Betsy Clark journals. Oh my gosh, I love Betsy Clark. So anything that is vintage Hallmark, vintage American Greetings, or Ambassador, I love, and I have a stash of this, and I don't typically use them just because I like to hoard them, because this is my jam. This is what I would go to the stationery shops or the drugstores back in the day, and I would buy these stickers or these little stationery sets, and oh my gosh, I love them. And it also reminds me of Holly Hobby, which that was my jam. I was a little too old for strawberry shortcake, so Holly Hobby was really, that's where it was at with me. So all of this just, oh, I love, love, love. Okay, so I have 2 Betsy Clark journals, and what I did was I have, let me show you what I have. Okay, so this was a party favor that you would give out at a birthday party, and basically what it was is it was like paper dolls, if you can kind of see. And you would pop out these little dolls, and then this would be like the house. And yeah, God, wouldn't it be awesome to go to a party where they gave these out as party favors? So yeah, I love, love, love these. And again, I've held on to this for a long time, and I finally was like, okay, now's the time. So what I did was I broke this apart, and I used the panels for the house, and I put that on as the cover. Now, this is that same crazy quilt that I used in my previous journals. I just flipped it inside out, so you get the crazy quilt on the inside, and then there's a butterfly pattern that is on the outside. And you can just barely see it because most of it's taken up by the Betsy Clark paper doll house. Lots of vintage trims, messy stitches, all that good stuff. Okay, so pocket on the inside. Check this out, guys. Holly Hobby sewing card. Ah, I know. So there's one here, and then there's another one at the back. Okay. Wallpaper. Look at that Betsy Clark playing card. Storybook. This is Peter Rabbit. The cross stitch calendar. The 1969 ledger paper. Some quilt pattern. This is from a stationery set. This was a greeting card, and it had multiple pages. I broke it down and stitched them to some wallpaper. 1973, backed to some tablet paper. 1979. Notebook paper, more cross-stitch pattern. And then this was kind of cool. I liked how this went together. So cross-stitch pattern, and then a calendar page in between there, and it's all kind of stitched together. This is another one of those post-it wallpaper, and then this is my most favorite. So this, let me show you. So this is a Betsy's Sweet Treats. This was a 1980 postcard calendar. So it's just like the little cats one, but this one was all Betsy Clark. And there's a little recipe, and I love it. So there's one of these, and then I stitched in a little envelope. And then here is the second half of the journal, and this is a little pocket. And yeah, love, love, love this journal. I think this would be, if you are a person who loves, look at this, this is some of my favorite stationery. If you are a person who loves vintage Hallmark and Holly Hobby and Betsy Clark and all that good stuff, oh my gosh, this journal, yeah, you will not be disappointed when you journal in this thing. Now, I had to laugh. Somebody said the other day on Instagram, they said, oh, these journals look so good, I wouldn't want to journal in them. And I had to laugh because, uh-oh, got a little page stuck there. I had to laugh because that's so not the point of my journals. Like, I don't want you to be afraid to journal in these. I want you to be inspired to journal in these and to take the artwork and the pretty things that are already in here and enhance them, you know, with your story and your art and your writings and your stickers and papers and artwork and photos and all that good stuff. Okay, so now let's look at the last ones. Okie dokies. Oh, by the way, hang on, I forgot to tell you. So in my two Betsy Clark journals, I'm going to put the paper dolls in. I know, I just now forgot. I just realized I forgot to tell you that. So yeah, so I've taken the paper dolls, and then I will tuck them in the pockets, and I divided them equally between the two journals. So yeah, there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 4 and 4. So there would be 4 of the little paper dolls in one of the pockets and 4 in the other one. Okay, now let's look at the strawberry shortcakes. So I've done some strawberry shortcake journals before, and they were pretty elaborate. So these are not as elaborate, but Again, single signature, squishy, flexible. Oh my gosh. Yeah, yeah, I love them, love them, love them. Okay, so this is this was a bedspread, a strawberry shortcake bedspread, and I've just cut, you know, as much of it, like it's just barely holding on because I've cut most of it out. But so I took that, I then backed it with some stabilizer. I just actually used some scrap paper, and then I put some wallpaper in. There's a pocket, and so then there'll be a pocket on the back side, and then lots of fun stitches and trims and all that good stuff. So there is one that has blueberry muffin on the front, one that has apple blossom on the front. This is what the back looks like. There is one that has strawberry shortcake on the front, and then one that has raspberry tart on the front. Okay, and these are all, again, all the same. So I'll flip through and show you what's going to be in here. Okay, so wallpaper, a strawberry shortcake plain card. It was some, I'll show you. It was a strawberry shortcake game. And it's not vintage, but it's still super cute. So I used this for like a little pocket. This is a strawberry shortcake book, and so I used the cover and stitched it in. This is a page from a storybook. This is some of my under paper. This is a page from the cookbook. Some of the 1969 ledger paper. Some of my favorite stationery, the school book page, the postulette, the quilt pattern book paper. Move this out of the way. This is one of those cloth books. Some of my favorite letterhead. This is I don't want to say needlework, but it was some sort of a craft pattern paper and the directions, and so I folded it and then stitched in a little piece of stationery, and then in the center I put the Betsy Clark calendar page. And so here's the second half, and then I did 2 of the pages of my letterhead and stitched it together and folded it in because this paper is so luscious. And so I just wanted you to have a little extra paper in here. You could tear it off, or you could go ahead and, you know, use it to journal on and just have it fold out. But yeah, I just love that paper so much. Okay, more stationery. There's a little pocket. And then there's that, another postulette, and I stamped some strawberries on here, some scrapbook paper, a little piece of some strawberry shortcake, like a little notepad, and then your pocket back here. So that one was the blueberry muffin. I'll just quickly kind of show you. This is the apple blossom or apple dumpling. I can't remember what that one was called. And then the raspberry tart. Kind of try to keep these as much the same as I could. Might be a little bit of differences just in the wallpaper or the page that actually came from the book. So yeah, so there you go. So there will be 4 of these, and then I'll put, you know, a couple of these in there also, and any other little strawberry shortcake things that I have. So there will be 4 of these strawberry shortcakes. There will be my 2 Betsy Clarks. There's my 2 scrumptious little vintage quilt journals. And then the 4, and I have to bind these, but my 4 sewing card journals. Oh, I've been doing a lot of journal work, guys. Oh my gosh. And they're just, oh, they're just so squishy. I just love them. Okay. Thank you for watching. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're happy. I hope you do something creative today. And these will be in my shop on Saturday, July 17th at 8 a.m. Central Time. Have a great rest of the day, friends. Bye.